We are going to go over how to make your task templates. We want to go to your profile and firm system settings from the dashboard. You can also get there through the hello and your name. That drop down menu will take you to the same place. Now, the first thing you want to start with is an idea of your workflow. For instance, you want to write down what are the first tasks that happen when you first open a case. And then you want to write down everything that needs to be done after the opening of the case. And you can be as detailed as you would like. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a simple task template. And we're going to do this for a bankruptcy. Let me just go ahead and we first start with a template name. So we can do it as a chapter 13. You can actually have it automatically add to any of your bankruptcies. So this would be an automatic. If we want it to, every time you opened, this is what's going to drop in. You can check that box. And then this is going to be a template that applies to either cases or contacts. So it's up to you and how you want to use this template. So I'm going to apply it to my cases. And the case type is going to be bankruptcy. And since I named this chapter 13, I want to also select the case chapter. Now the debtor, you can get very specific on what type of debtor you're going to make this test templates for or apply to. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of make it general to all debtor types. And then I'm going to continue. From here is where you'll start adding all of your to-dos or your task. Now you have a choice to add the task, and you also have a choice to select a document request list. I'm going to start with a to-do list or a task list. And here is going to be now the name of this list. So you can have separate categories or groupings of your list. So this one I can start off the to-do list name as, let's go ahead with open file. Okay, so this is going to be right when you open the file or the case or matter, you can name it whatever best suits your firm. And then you want to decide whether or not you want it to be auto-assigned, which means it will automatically place the user's name attached to this task. You can go by username or by party. So if this is going to be for, let's say, the paralegal or the secretary, this is how you would name that party. And then you can decide whether you want there to be an auto due date. Okay. So if we decide not to have any due dates, anything that is listed after within the task, it's not going to ever have a due date. It's just going to be a task that needs to be completed. If we decide to have an auto set due date, then we have to decide when do we want that due date to start. So we have several options. You can have that due date trigger these tasks and the date that is due for that task upon the opening of the case, when the case is filed, when you set a projected filing date, a status change, a workflow step, or a manual trigger. What I'm going to do is leave it at the open. So this is about opening the file. So once it's created, we want to then decide what do we want the task to be. So we can add it here, open client portal. And then you'll see the 0 is the day of. So right when that case is opened, this due date would already be set. Then I can click add to add another task, and we can collect all documents. And then we can say download. If they're coming in through the client portal, we can then either collect them from the client or through the portal. And then you can decide how many days out do we want this due. So we can give them 10 days for this to happen. The due date would be 10 days after opening. And then we want to go ahead and, let's say, begin entry or drafting case. I think it's called different things. This is how I know it is to be drafting a case or inputting all of the information within Jubilee. And then you can set this how many days out from the opening, not from the one before. So not, one day from the 10th day, but actually how many days out from opening. So we're going to go ahead and put 14 days. Okay, so you can type it in or you can use the plus and minus for the days. We also have the ability to show descriptions so we can add more details, right? So from the collect all documents that are downloaded, we can add as a description from client portal, right? And drafting case is entering debtor information into Jubilee. And then we're going to go ahead and save and close. So this is one task list. And we can now start a document request list. So this is going to be pre-filing. We can have it auto-assign. We're going to have it to user or even party. So we can have it for the client. And then we're going to have an auto set due date. So we can have also upon opening or any of the other ones, but I'm going to use open. And then we'll just start our document list. So you need all bills. We're going to go ahead and give them 5 days. And then let's say bank statements, give them a week. And then let's say let's do 90-day pay stubs. Okay, and then this we can give them 10 days. If you feel like the 90-day pay stub is more important, you can click on the move and then move it up. And then we can make this the 0 date, right? We want those as quick as possible. And you can move that up and down your list. And of course, there's not a limit of how many documents that you can list here. I'm going to stop at 3. I'm going to save and close. And then you can continue adding the to-do list. So we can have post-filing. We want it to auto-assign to a party. I'm going to auto-assign this to the paralegal. We want this to be auto-set due date. So I want that to be a status change, or you can even have it upon filing. Okay, once the case is filed, we need to send client case number and documents. We need to check for 341 meeting of creditor dates. Okay, and so we'll do that within a week. And then you can, make a call to client to remind them of payment due date. Okay, and then we will put that 14 days out. Save and close. Now, I'm going to do one off a workflow. This is going to be any dismissal. So if you have some items that may not always pertain, only at certain triggers. For instance, I'm going to do a workflow step change. Workflow step changes can be user defined or are user defined here. So we have a drop down here that I've created already, but I'm going to create a new one. And this is going to be, I'm going to put dismissal. I'll put motion to dismiss filed. So I'm going to close this, and that's what I'm going to select as the change. There's a dismissal. I just needed it to refresh. And this is going to be dismissal. We're going to auto assign that to the paralegal. Okay, and then we will put in what happens next. Day of, we're going to send a client a letter. We're going to review the motion to dismiss with attorney. Next day out, and call trustee. And then we want to check on debtor's payments. Okay, so this is going to be a task template. And of course, it can be very long, they can be short. And so here's this one. And I'm going to name it, let's make chapter 13. I'm going to enlarge this so we can see the save and close. So we want to see the save and close. If you're ever looking for it, it does give you a search on top. So it does look like I have one already created. So we want to make sure the one that you created, you want to identify it. So I'm just going to put my name so I know this is the one that I created. It's not going to show up anywhere other than when you're selecting. Okay. So here's the task template that I just now created. So I can create a new bankruptcy and add that to the new bankruptcy. When I create new bankruptcy, down at the bottom here is where you want to select your task template. So we have a task template, and then when I open it, it will drop in everything that was created. Okay. What I'm going to do is add it to an existing one. So then I'm going to go into the task under manage on the left side. I have some that were already here. We're going to apply a template. So I'm going to click apply template. I'm going to look for my chapter 13. And it already has all the triggers in there because it was upon opening. So this was opened back in March. So that's the dates that it's going to put in there. It does give you a chance to go back and change it if you want it to. Apply that template, select the template. Okay, here it is. And the save and close button is right here. Go ahead and save and close. Because the trigger was upon filing or upon opening, that's when these hit, or your March dates. And then the ones that are April, and all of these are going to be the ones that were upon the actual file. Okay, so one is going to be, let's come over here. Here's the case open, and then I'm going to hit case filed. It brings in that date filed that was there previously. And then that's where these dates start to trigger. And for it to actually assign to these tasks, we will have to add a paralegal. I don't think I'm as a paralegal. So let's look up paralegal. Let's see if anybody's in here as paralegal. Okay. So I do have a paralegal. The role will be paralegal. Save. Now when we go to the task now, let me refresh it. Any of the new ones that come in now are going to be assigned to that paralegal. This is the workflow steps. When I click on it, these are all the workflow steps that were created. And then you can select which one. So I'm going to select dismissal. All right, we get a notice that it's on a motion to dismiss. And that should then trigger the next task. Okay, so here are the next tasks that it just brought in off of that workflow trigger. Okay, send the letter, review, call trustee, check on payments with all of the due dates. And if any of these are going to be listed as yours or any other person, so if I put this for me, then you have the option to receive notifications either through the app or an email. Okay. So if I save and close, that's going to assign to me. And then up here is where you'll get notified that you do have tasks that have been assigned to you. Your task can also be viewed from your view and then task. So if you have someone that are watching, just to make sure all the tasks have been done, what is still left to be done, you can select the task. It will then bring in all the tasks for everyone. You can select only my task, and then it'll just be all the tasks assigned to you. And you can group them with additional filters and see what is due this week. Okay, so these are all my tasks in the next 30 days. And so you can filter out to find the ones that you are looking for. So let's look for new ones. So you definitely can print this one, download it, and check off all your tasks as you go along. There are priorities that you can set once they have been created: high, medium, and low. If you need to reassign to someone else, you could just click that little X and then send it to someone else. And then now that gets assigned to that person, and that person will get notified of that new task. You can also create your templates within a case. So if you start typing in all of your to-dos and then you realize this is something I would like to save as a template, if you go to the little settings and you'll click Save as Template, that'll then have you enter the template name, who you wanted to apply, and then it'll bring everything in for your template. And once your items are complete, you can check them off. You don't necessarily need to open, but check them off. Okay, that should complete our task templates. If you have any questions, please let us know and give us a call. Our number is 210-563-5300.